afternoon all, and welcome back to the Kieran Climbing Racing Show, covering day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival Gold Cup Day, going through race by race and seeing my thoughts at this current stage. We start with the Triumph Hurdle over 2 miles for the juveniles, and currently Proactif is favourite now at 7-2 after the unfortunate that Narciso Haas will not be in the race. Salman Davari was second to Narciso Haas at the DRF. He's in second favourite at 9-2. You've got Manila Study at 7s. Maestro Conti 15-2, along with Monge Toot and Mondo Man at 8-1. It's 12-1 bar. Proactif won in Auteuil before joining Willie Mullins and won nicely at Fairyhouse on debut, beating Macho Man, who was likely to reoppose. Like I said, Salman Davari second at the DRF behind Narciso Haas. Manila Study is for the Adam Nichols stable. Won okay at Weatherby, but then was very impressive in December at Cheltenham. Comes into factor. Maestro Conti won at Kempton in December before winning very nicely on Trials Day at Cheltenham. And then obviously Monge Toot, who I mentioned in the previous video, was one at the DRF and one at Down Royal and at Fairyhouse, before finishing third in the DRF in that race behind Narciso Haas and Salman Davari. Very interesting race. The two that I've got lined up, if Salman Davari comes here, I'll be very interested because chances are, especially if Paul Townend takes this over Macho Man, I'll be very interested in her. And then also Manila Study is the other one for Adam Nichols. I think this horse has improved leaps and bounds, and obviously has the course form in the book, and I think it could be between those two come the race itself. Those are the two on my shortlist currently. The County Hurdle, we have Mercia as favourite for Willie Mullins at 6-1. Kishmara for Nicky Henderson 7-1, Carbo 10-1, Sinatra 12-1. I started the joke 14s along with Amsterdam, Stormheart and Rock Dino. Mercia obviously was part of my anti-post selection book. I put her up at 8-1. She's now 6-1, 8th in the Fred Winter last year before going on to win the Grade 1 at Aintree. Came back this season with a third behind Talk the Talk at Fairyhouse before finishing a eye-catching 4th at the DRF behind Bowens on Fire on handicap debut. I think she's got strong form, and I think I know everybody's comparing her to Carl Geese last year. I just think that she could be a similar sort of mould. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to see her go and win this, but I really like her chances. I really think she will go close. And at 6-1 now, I will probably see what price she is on the day. We might even go mug each way, but yeah, I'm on at 8-1. Hopefully she runs a big race. Kishmara for the Nicky Henderson's next in, won at Utoxa before finishing second at Huntington, and then won a mare's race at Market Raisin next time. The form of that has been franked since. Comes in off a mark of 128, so low down the ratings, very much has a chance here. Carbo for Willie Mullins, third at Aintree last season behind Salvatore Mundi. Was then second on reappearance behind Glen Kiln. Will make handicap debut if taking this event, and I think could be one to keep on side. It all depends really who Paul Townend picks, isn't it, between these two? Obviously, you like to see if he picks Carbo over Mercy, then potentially it could flip-flop in the betting, but I'm hoping that he sticks with Mercy and Mercy gets well backed. Sinatra for the Skeltons, second at Newbury twice, behind Captain Hugo and Active Innocence. Was then won at Sandown before finishing third at Huntington, again behind Active Innocence in the what's it called, Sydney Banks, and then won last time out at Warwick, easy enough. Comes here in decent form, got decent racing weight as well, off a mark of 129, and I think this could go. He could be in and around for the Skeltons, definitely the number one. Obviously, they did have Fortune Demar that they were going to run in this race, but unfortunately, he's out for the season. That was their aim to start with. And then you've got I Started a Joke, who is next in, fourth at Listowel, first time up this season, and then was third at Navan behind. Trying to think who that is now. He's third at Navan, and then fourth at Limerick behind King Rascal Grey. Won at Punchestown before finishing second to Bowens on Fire in that handicap at the DRF. Was meant to be running in the Moor Battle, but they skipped past that and has gone since coming here fresh. I know he's in other handicaps as well, but there's chances are he's going to come here. And Charles Burns, they know will love a gamble, and we shall see what happens with this one. But I am with Mercia. I'm on 8-1. Hopefully she does the business and goes and wins this race for us. A big price I will mention is Celtic Dino at 25-1 off a mark of 147. Won the Welsh champion hurdle at the start of the season, obviously beating Alexi. Willful was third, and Tutti Quanti was down the field. Now they've all gone and won big races since and are all a lot higher up in the ratings. Two of them could potentially be taking up champion hurdle, going into the champion hurdle this year, being Tutti Quanti and Alexi. So that's strong form. Was then second to Wadu at Ascot, only beating half a length. That's no mean feat, having to give her weight. And then was fourth to Sagino in the Christmas hurdle, beating I think 6 or 7 lengths, but no, a bit further than that probably. Can't remember off the top of my head, but decent run that day. Dropping into handicap company, I short at 25-1. I know off a high mark of 147, but he will definitely give a big run in for Sam Thomas. And the Mare's Chase is next on the programme. Dino Blue, my lay of the festival, at 11-8. I know a lot of people have called it the banker of the festival. I can't see it. I really can't. I can be taking her on big time. She's 11-8. You've got Spindleberry at 9-2. Panic Attack 5-1. Diva Luna 8-1. And then it's 9-1 bar. Dino Blue won, obviously, like I said, won this race last year. Came back to finish second at Navan behind Founder 50, and then has had 2 wins since. One at 1-7, one at 1-8. Has beaten absolutely nothing, and I think coming into this race is a lot stronger race than it was last year. I think only one of the horses that ran the race last year has ran against since. The form is awful. I just think she will. I think this race is a lot more difficult for her to win. I'd be happy to lay her at 11-8. Spindleberry, very impressive throughout this last season and this season up until she ran last time out in the Irish Gold Cup. I think Willie Mullins ran her in the Irish Gold Cup, just said to the owners, don't go for the Gold Cup, go for the Mare's Chase. So if she comes here, she's a live contender, along with Panic Attack for the Skeltons, who has won, what hasn't she won? More than fact, she's won the Paddy Power in November. She won the Hennessy Coral Gold Cup in December. Sorry. She's then won a listed event in January at Newbury as well. Comes here looking to win this, and then hopefully going on to the Grand National after that. What a season that would be if she can do that, and I think she's got a hell of a chance as well, as is my beloved Diva Luna. Yes, I will potentially have, even if I don't put her up, I will be having some money on Diva Luna. Really impressive on both starts this season, both listed events at Bangor and Warwick, and she's sure to bang there after being third in the Mare's Novice Hurdle last year. But yeah, for me, it's either Panic Attack and probably back both. I'll probably back Panic Attack and Diva Luna and take on Dino Blue. We then move on to the fourth race, the Albert Bartlett, and we have Dr. Steinberg at the top of the betting at 3-1. Now only in this after being taken out of the Turners yesterday. The Devil You Know at 4-1. Spinning Yarn 10-1. Espresso Milan 12-1. 14-1 bar. Dr. Steinberg, 3 from 3. He's won at Galway, he's won at Navan, and obviously the Nathaniel Lacey last time out in the DRF. To me, I would rather see him in the Turners. I would probably back him for the Turners if he was in that. I thought he was far too keen at the DRF, and I'd love to see how he's going to get the extra couple of furlongs. And hopefully he's not as keen for Paul, otherwise it could be quite difficult for him to get him home, to be honest. But over 3 miles, and I'd be certainly willing to take him on at 3-1. The Devil You Know has done nothing wrong this season. Won at Goran, was second to Dr. Steinberg at Navan for winning the River Don at Doncaster very impressively last time. Certainly couldn't put anybody off backing him. Spinning Yarn, third at Clonmel before wins at Fairyhouse and Punchestown. That's all over 2.5 miles, so stepping up to 3 miles for the first time could bring out some improvement. And this horse has been plenty of talk around the podcast / preview scene. A lot of people tipping this horse up for Gordon Elliott. And Espresso Milan, who looks a thorough stayer, and I've thought with this horse being in this field would be another reason why Dr. Steinberg may go to the Turners. But because this horse just stays all day, wins at Punchestown and Thurles, thorough stayer, and I think will definitely be close coming to the finish for sure. 2 I've got the bigger prices. Anti-post bet that I put up on Monday was Fruit de Mar, who won at Naas on debut for Henry de Bromhead before finishing third, very eye-catching third in the Lords and Ace behind Sort That and Sortudo. I actually tweeted out after that day that I thought that he was definitely an eye-catcher and one to keep on side. And at 25-1, I put him up anti-post for this race. And the other one to keep an eye on, I might back them both in the race, is Cryptic Jim for the Tizard stable. Second on debut to Kingston Queen at Chepstow, beating 9 lengths that day. Has gone on to win at Ascot and Newbury since, and then won just about in the darkest of photos that we've ever seen, beating Taurus Bay on trials day at Cheltenham. Definitely comes there, like I said, got Cheltenham form, and definitely 20-1 could outrun his odds. So it would be Fruit de Mar and Cryptic Jim for me in this race if they're both declared. The Gold Cup, the blue ribbon of the meeting, the big race. Factor File is in here, 5-2 favourite. Django Bay 11-2. Jukebox Man 11-2. Gaelic Warrior 11-2. I Know the Way You're Thinking and Gallop to Shops both 15-2. Haiti Colors 8-1. It's 14-1 bar. Factor File, obviously, I think it's going to go for the Ryanair. Needs to be supplemented to come here. I think with all the support that there's been for I Know the Way You're Thinking over the last couple of days, last week or so, I think the Factor File will go for the Ryanair, and they'll have I Know the Way You're Thinking and Spillans Tower, the JP team in this. Django Bay, decent winner at Ascot, 4th in the King George, obviously won the Arc all last year. Has decent claims for sure, but definitely wouldn't put anybody off if you fancy in Django Bay. I know a few people are on at bigger prices. The Jukebox Man, obviously missed the back end of last season, probably would have won the Brown Advisory quite nicely last year, the way that race was finished. Unfortunately missed that, but won well at Haydock and Graduation Chase first time up. Roko's come out and boosted that form since by winning at Ascot, and then went on to win the King George, where obviously he beat Django Bay, Gaelic Warrior, and of course Factor 5 was also in that race back in 6th, so no mean feat that, and the Jukebox Man definitely has his rightful place in this, as does Gaelic Warrior, who potentially could be coming here. Obviously he may go to the Ryanair if Factor File comes here, the old switcheroo. Won the John Durkin by outstaying Factor File, I believe, that day. Was third in the King George behind the Jukebox Man, and then was second in the Irish Gold Cup to Factor File. He's definitely an enigma, Gaelic Warrior, and likely to be the ride of Patrick Mullins, who's never won the Gold Cup, and probably, if he does win the Gold Cup, that might be his swan song to retirement. You never know. Likelihood is Paul Townend's not going to get off Galloping de Champs to ride this as much as people would want him to. And then speaking of Galloping Deschamps, second in the race last year, won it on his hat-trick bid after winning it 2 years before. Third so far at both Leopardstown and in the Irish Gold Cup last time. This it will be his swan song. Can he roll back the years and win it and regain his Gold Cup, a bit like what Corto Star did a few years back? To beat the defending champion, I know the way you're thinking, who's also now been well supported over the last few days, but has done absolutely nothing this year. And if he wins this Gold Cup, then well, it's a bit farcical for racing, to be honest, if he wins this, because he's not been put in any single race so far this year. And then, lo and behold, goes and wins the big race of the year. Just wouldn't sit right with myself, to be honest. If he did go and win, I certainly wouldn't be having a penny on him myself. I'm just leaving him alone and seeing how he gets on. I'll be really annoyed if he does win, though, because he's not done a single thing all year. But the one I do like, and the one I am going to back potentially, is Haiti Colors. Winner of the National Hunt Chase last year. Was very disappointing when pulled up in the Betfair Chase. I thought first start in a Grade 1, I thought that was a bit disappointing. But has bounced back since to win the Welsh National, and then also won the Denman Chase at Newbury. This lad will go from the front. He will make it a test. And I just think he will stay and stay and stay. And I think it definitely each way claims at 8-1. But it looks a hell of a race on paper if they all turn up. And if you include Factor 5 as well, it could be a even better race to look at. The Hunter's Chase is to follow that. 9-2, Wonderwall, who won the race last year. It's on the line at 5-1. He was second last year. Panda Boy at 7s. And Kean's Rock at 7s, also 9-1 bar. Don't know the form of many of these, not going to go through it too much, apart from obviously the first and second from last year at the top of the market. The one I will mention is Statler at 12-1. Won the National Hunt Chase 4 years ago when trained by Willie Mullins. Pulled up in the National 2 years ago when still trained by Willie Mullins. Now has new connections with Faye Bramley. Won a Fakenham race with Patrick Mullins on board to qualify for this. Potentially could be Patrick Mullins' ride in this race, and it'd be good if it is. But yeah, Statler would be the one I'm interested in the Hunter's Chase. And then finally, the Martin Pipe, Rock Dino 7-1, Apom de Nom 8-1, Calestoire 10-1, who's come in for plenty of support over the last couple of days. The Passing Wife 10-1, 12-1 bar. Rock Dino off 1-3-1, has finished second on 2 starts since joining Willie Mullins. Beaten out of sight by Mighty Park, who now is one of the favourites for the Supreme. And then was second to El Kairos, again another one favourite for the in the favourites zone for the Supreme. Only beaten 3.5 lengths that day. Steps up in trip on handicap debut for the first time for Mullins off a mark of 1-3-1. Pan de Nom for the Skeltons, off 1-2-9. Has won 4 out of his 6 starts this season, including winning at Cheltenham in November. Put him up a couple of times as a selection this year. Been very consistent and very lenient by the handicapper. Only to be off 1-2-9. Definitely has a chance. Calestoire, who I said has been well backed over the last few days, off a mark of 1-3-7. He's only had 5 starts. To date, this will be his handicap debut if he comes here. 8th in the Turners last year behind the New Lion. Latest run at Gorham Park when finishing 5th behind Storm Heart. The Passing Wife, again, another one that would make handicap debut off in this race. A mark of 143, was 3rd at Gorham behind the Devil You Know, was then third in the Royal Bond, 5th at Leopardstown at Christmas behind Skylight Hustle, and then obviously won at Doncaster last time out. No, sorry, he didn't win at Doncaster last time out. Sorry, I'll take that back. He won beating Doctors de Menil, last time out at Punchestown. 2 I like against the field though. Firstly is Wendrock, who I put up as an anti-post bet at 25-1. He's now best price 16-1. He was 6th in the Fred Winter last year. He was 4th on return in a grade 3 behind Talk the Talk. He was 5th at Christmas and then was pulled up at the DRF, but that was over 3 miles. What interested me in why I put him out of penalty post is that he's been ridden all year by conditional jockeys. I just think this has been the target for the year, and I think we're going to either get Josh Williamson or Carl Miller on board, and hopefully this penny will drop and this horse will run a big race at 25-1. And the final one to mention, it's Bilbo for Henry de Bromhead, winner of a listed event in December. Have some decent form last season, decent juvenile form last season, finishing second twice at decent venues, Fairyhouse and Bunchestown. Did go chasing. He was actually 4th to Kopek the board in that race at Nace in November. Hopefully, see what happens, but goes back hurdling and see what goes on there. But Wendrock will definitely be the one that I'm on. I'm on anti-post at 25s, but he'd be the key one for me in the Martin Pipe. And that's all, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope you all enjoy my Cheltenham content. I'll be back on Sunday with day 1's final selections video, and then we'll go on from there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday until we get all 4 videos out. But yeah, hope you all have a good weekend, guys, and happy punting to you all.